This is Singapore's longest debate.
The west side.
Oh, east side is the best.
West.
Because it's the best food.
Side lah.
West side, best side. I myself don't think there's any good food in the west.
Who wants to live in the west?
The west sider, I'm obliged to say west.
The east.
It's like there's nothing else like anywhere else.
Okay.
In this video, we explore both regions
Tampines Hub is so big. The west is definitely cheaper to live in.
and find out which side is the best side. I have lived in the West for 10 years, 7 in Choa Chu Kang as a kid, and 3 years in my 20s at Bukit Panjang. I love all things Bukit Panjang. Bus 190, the Blue Line, the many food choices for me, and 30 minutes to Woodland Checkpoint via bus. Sounds like the perfect place, right? But my experience doesn't encompass the thoughts of my fellow Westies. More than half of the residents in 3 West Side neighbourhoods were not satisfied with their housing situation. But why is this so? Is the East truly better than the West? First, we gotta define each region. The West comprises of regions from Bukit Panjang all the way to Tuas. The East stretches from Paya Lebar all the way to Changi. To find out which is the best side, I will assess both sides in terms of its convenience, affordability, and livability. In 2022, Singapore was ranked the 4th best public transport in the world. But is it equally convenient to get around in both the East and the West? On paper, it seems that the East and the West are on par with 3 MRT lines each serving them. But on a closer look, the MRT transport network is less dense in the West, with many neighbourhoods being overly dependent on the East-West line. During the East-West line breakdown last year, 2.1 million passengers were affected. Without the East-West line, the West lacked direct and efficient transport alternatives. A 19-minute train journey from Jurong East to Redhill was 90 minutes after all the multiple bus rides. And commuters from Jurong East to Orchard took twice the time for their journey. One way to improve the transportation network in the West is by adding more buses that travel directly to a destination. Think Bus 161, 168, 858, and 969.
On the other hand, transport in the east has been boosted with the new Thomson East Coast Line.
Commuters along the East Coast area are estimated to save 50% of travelling time when using the Thomson East Coast Line. So a 40-minute bus and train commute from Marine Terrace to Shandon Way is now 20 minutes via the Thomson East Coast Line. Right now, the East Siders certainly have it better in terms of transport.
The Brown Line!
But West Siders fret not. The Jurong Region Line and the Cross Island Line are coming to save you come 2030. Tengah, Boon Lay, Jurong East and Choa Chu Kang will be connected to key landmarks such as NTU Campus and Jurong Industrial District. While these lines do improve connectivity in the West and to other towns in Singapore, direct connectivity from the West to the city isn't better.
I did some extra digging and found that there were differences in amenities and facilities at both sides.
27 shopping malls each, 1 outlet mall in each area. It does look like carbon copies of one another. For my Westies who love exercise, good news for you! The West has more public facilities as compared to the East. Apart from having more exercise spaces, the East also seems to edge out the West in the access to food options. Looking at NEA's website, I found that in the West, hawker centres are fewer and more spread out. Does more hawker centres mean better food in the East? Let's hear from some Singaporeans.
Comparing like West versus East side?
You stay in the west?
Yeah, I stay around.
Yeah, we are making a video about east versus west. We just wanted to know like where is the best food lah.
Oh, East side, best side lah, people always say ma.
East have a lot of food choices.
In the West, I think there are more variety options of food. I always go to IMM. And then local food wise, maybe I'll go to the Mookata, Jurong East there.
If you feel like you want more delicacies, I prefer Bugis Street. There's a lot of different cuisines there.
Hougang Avenue 8, they sell the best prata there.
For halal food, maybe in the east is better lah. More choice.
You don't live in Singapore. What's the best?
Jalan Besar. Bedok Interchange is not bad.
Yeah, West side, best side. I think it's very good lah, cause it's quite cheap.
应该是你们所知道的牛车水吧？这没有说East or West 的食物，每个地方都有他们的特色，都是一样，东边有的，西边也是有的。
In terms of medical care and hospitals, people in the West, you win out. For public healthcare, the West has 3 hospitals and 7 polyclinics, but the East has only 1 hospital and 5 polyclinics.
For private healthcare, Singapore has over 2,000 GP clinics, with the East having more clinics than the West.
Both regions are set to welcome new hospitals by 2030. The Eastern General Hospital will start running by 2026, while Tengah Hospital will start running by 2030.
Next up, is the East or the West more affordable to live in? I found that one town stands out from the rest, and that's Jurong West. In the top 5 cheapest estates for 3, 4 and 5 room HDB flats, Jurong West emerged in all 3 lists, being the cheapest neighbourhood in Singapore for 4 room and 5 room flats. The cheapest HDB estates comprise many other neighbourhoods in the West, such as Bukit Panjang, Jurong East and Choa Chu Kang. In the top 5 cheapest estate lists, there was only one contender from the East, with Bedok being the 5th cheapest estate for 3-room flats. What about condos and landed properties? Do they follow the same trajectory as HDBs? The answer is a resounding yes. Condos in Marine Parade, Bedok and Siglap in the east are priced higher than condos in Jurong, Clementi and Bukit Batok in the west. The cycle repeats itself for landed properties, as landed properties in the east can be more than twice as expensive as those in the west.
The reasons for the difference in price is due to upscale neighbourhoods in areas like East Coast.
Another reason is the East's strong connectivity to major transport infrastructures such as Changi Airport, CBD, and Marina Bay Financial Centre.
The West is the cheaper option to live in, while the East is closer to the city centre. If you ask me, I go with the East.
Let's talk about livability. Livability is the degree to which a place is suitable for living.
One factor that enhances livability is access to nature and greenery.
The East has 128 parks, with East Coast Park being the biggest in Singapore. Did you know that East Coast Park alone has 15 km of cycling paths, beaches, and playgrounds? The best thing of all, Eastsiders stand to enjoy a sea view. The West Side, on the other hand, it has 86 parks, with Jurong Lake Gardens being its biggest. One big difference between the East and the West is the flatness of the land. The East has flatter land, while the West has more hills and contours.
Oh guys, these hills are steep, man. Look at that.
However, hilly ranges, different vegetation, and frequent rainfalls in the West make it a cooler region than the East.
After visiting both regions, I would say the East is more livable.
Better connectivity to the city, better access to amenities make it a more livable region as compared to the West.
Few more steps.
That being said, keep an eye out for the West. Come 2030, when the Jurong Region Line and Cross Island Line are ready, the West will definitely be a more connected and attractive region.
At the end of the day, the better side is the side that works for you. And for me, the best side is the West side.
Energy can be a bit better. But why is this so? Like, the kind of like really why? I want to know why.
为什么如何? East or West better here, is it?